At my wife's birthday party that I paid for with my money, my time, my blood and sweat, she stood up in front of everyone, raised a glass of champagne I bought, and publicly thanked another man. Not me, not her husband, him. And right when I thought it couldn't get more humiliating, she pulled out a branded t-shirt from a little gift bag, something she clearly had printed in advance, and handed it to me in front of 50 people. It read "Divorced" in bold black letters. Everyone laughed, even her parents, even her friends. But not me. I didn't say a word, just smiled, walked up to the podium, picked up the Rolex I had wrapped for her birthday, turned around, and walked out quietly. The silence behind me hit harder than any scream. 5 minutes later, the calls started, then the texts. Then came the 177 missed calls. Let me tell you something. When a man gets that many missed calls in a row, it's never because someone loves him too much. It's because they're scared. Scared that you finally know everything. And I did. It started 4 months before that nightmare of a birthday. My name's Jason Carter, and I married Melissa because I thought loyalty meant something to her. I was wrong. Loyalty to Melissa only lasted until a better offer came along, and apparently that offer wore leather jackets, drove a Dodge Challenger, and called her babe in public. His name? Chad Daniels. I'll never forget that name, or his smirk. She met him at her women's business seminar, a monthly getaway in San Diego that somehow never produced a single invoice, business lead, or document I ever saw. But it gave her a reason to come home sun-kissed and freshly waxed, claiming, "The girls just love to treat themselves." I didn't want to believe it. The late returns, the showering right after she got home, the way she hid her phone like it was a ticking bomb. But denial is easy when love clouds logic. Then came the Uber receipt. She was out late again, said they were at Kim's wine night. I needed to check our Amex statement for a work expense and saw it. $62.30, Uber XL, to 4168 Valencia Drive. Not Kim's address. I knew because Kim lives in a gated community 20 miles in the opposite direction. I Googled the address. It was a motel, not even a classy one, the kind you pay by the hour. I waited 2 days, let her lie again. Yeah, we drank a little too much wine. I Ubered home. You know how it is, babe. I did, but not the way she thought. I placed a hidden camera inside her car. I installed a tracker on her phone while she was sleeping. It wasn't about trust anymore. It was about confirmation. And boy, I got it in 4K. Chad's voice, Chad's hand on her thigh, Melissa giggling like a teenager, her saying, "Jason's sweet, but he's boring. You make me feel alive." I watched that video 3 times, not to torture myself, but to burn her voice into my brain. Because after that, I knew I wasn't going to forgive her. Not this time. But I also wasn't going to explode. Not yet. No, I'd wait. I'd wait until everyone was watching, until the stage was set, until her 32nd birthday. I planned everything. Booked the venue, hired a jazz band, ordered her favorite white orchid bouquet. I even bought her that Rolex she'd been whining about for 2 years because I wanted to make sure when she fell from the top. She had no idea. None. I kissed her on the forehead that morning, brought her breakfast in bed. She smiled like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't been spreading her legs for Chad every second weekend. She even whispered, "You're the best husband a girl could ask for." Yeah, I was. And then came the party, and the mic, and the t-shirt, and my quiet exit. People didn't know what hit them. They thought it was a joke, that I'd laugh it off. But I wasn't joking. I walked outside into the parking lot, put the Rolex in the trunk, turned my phone off, and just sat behind the wheel. For the first time in months, I breathed. But then I looked back through the tinted window and saw her running, panic in her eyes, dress hiked up, heels in her hand. It was just beginning. She banged on the car window like a lunatic, mascara streaked down her face, hair all messed up, probably from all the dancing. I didn't flinch, just stared ahead, hands on the wheel, heart calm for the first time in weeks. She yanked the door handle. Locked. Again. Locked. Then the yelling started. Jason, what the fuck is wrong with you? Come back inside. I rolled down the window exactly 1 inch. You forgot to thank me for the party, I said, voice flat. Her eyes twitched. You're being dramatic, I smiled. Tell Chad I said hi. That hit her like a bullet. She stumbled back like she got slapped. Her mouth opened, shut, opened again, and then what are you even talking about? I unlocked the door slowly and got out, reached into my coat pocket, pulled out a small USB and held it between 2 fingers. This is what I'm talking about. Dash cam footage, audio from your phone, GPS locks, motel receipts. You want to keep pretending? Or should I just start forwarding this to your parents and HR at your job? She lunged for it like a wild dog. I stepped back. Don't fuck play with me, Jason. You don't know what you're doing, she hissed. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. You're the one who fucked up. She stood there barefoot, breathing hard, party music echoing behind her. The way her face twisted, I could see it clear. She wasn't sorry. Not for what she did, just that I caught her. You're going to ruin my life over some stupid fling? She barked. I laughed. Actually laughed. Loud and free. A fling? You told him I was boring. You told him you felt more alive with him. You called me a walking paycheck. That's not a fling. That's who you are. She stepped closer. We can work through this. You're overreacting. There it was. The playbook. Lie, deny, minimize, gaslight. I shook my head. I know everything, Melissa. You used me. You embarrassed me. You planned a public takedown like I was just some joke. You were going to humiliate me in front of everyone, and then what? Go fuck Chad behind a dumpster after cake? Her face crumpled. It wasn't supposed to go like that. No, it wasn't. But it did. I got back in the car, started the engine. Her palm hit the hood. You walk away now, Jason. We're done. I looked her dead in the eyes through the windshield. We were done the moment you chose him. Then I drove off. 5 blocks later, I pulled over and turned my phone back on. 177 missed calls. 43 texts. 17 from her mom. 8 from Chad, believe it or not. 1 voicemail from her dad saying, "Please call me back." We didn't know. I didn't reply to a single one. I checked into a hotel that night, one I used for work trips. Paid cash, ordered a burger, cracked open a beer, and watched a documentary about serial killers. Anything but rom-coms. Then I opened my laptop and started copying files. I made backups of everything. Every image, every recording, every message. I wasn't just angry. I was surgical. She thought she could turn me into a meme, hand me a divorced shirt like I was trash? Okay, let's see who gets trashed first. The next morning, I dropped off the Rolex at the jeweler's, got store credit. Then I emailed her boss an anonymous tip with audio from her motel rendezvous, clearly dated during a sick leave she'd taken. Attached screenshots of messages talking trash about upper management. By lunch, she was suspended. By evening, she was fired. I didn't stop there. I sent copies of the motel bill to her mom with a simple note. Thought you should know where your daughter spends her weekends. Then, just for fun, I left Chad a voicemail. Short and sweet. Hope you like sleeping with married women, bro. Just remember, she cheated on me with you. What makes you think she won't cheat on you with the next guy in line? Click. For the next 3 days, she spiraled. Dozens of missed calls. She even showed up at my office. My assistant said she stood outside crying for 2 hours. I didn't look, didn't care. Then, 3 days later, the final nail. I filed for divorce, sent her the papers with a bottle of champagne and the t-shirt she gave me. Except I added a little something on the back. Upgraded. A week passed. She went radio silent. No calls, no texts, nothing. I thought maybe, just maybe, she finally accepted it was over. Then came the knock at the hotel door. It was 11:42 p.m. I was watching the game, half asleep, chips on my chest. I opened the door in boxers and a hoodie,
And there she stood, Melissa, barefoot, wearing an old hoodie of mine, drenched from the rain, makeup gone, eyes red, hand shaking like she hadn't slept in days. "Can I come in?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't move, just looked at her. "I've got nothing to say," I said. She stepped forward. "Please, just 10 minutes, that's all I'm asking." I let her in. Not for her, for me. I needed to hear what kind of twisted lie she'd try spinning now. She walked in like a ghost, dripping on the carpet, and sat at the edge of the bed, like she used to every time she wanted to manipulate me. But this time, she wasn't in control. "Fuck!" she started. I looked at the floor. "I know that's no suck," I muttered. She flinched, but didn't stop. "I didn't mean to fall for him. It just happened. I was bored, and he made me feel something again. But it was stupid. He doesn't care about me. Not really. Not like you did." "Did?" I asked. Past tense. "Do," she meant. "Do." I stayed quiet, let her fill the silence. "I've been a buckle to you, Jason. I took you for granted. I thought you'd never leave, that no matter what I did, you'd always be there. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You planned that." Her jaw tensed. "It was supposed to be a joke." "A joke? You handed me a divorced shirt like it was a birthday card. You publicly thanked the guy you were sneaking off to motels with and ignored me. You don't joke like that unless you think I'm some kind of clown." She wiped her face with her sleeve. "I thought if I made you angry enough, maybe you'd break up with me first. I didn't want to be the bad guy." That broke me. "You were the bad guy, Melissa." She stood up, full of some fake clarity. "I want to fix it," I laughed. I couldn't help it. Loud and ugly. Fix what? You think this is a flat tire? You slept with him for months, lied to my face every night. You don't fix that. You throw it out and never touch it again." "I'll do anything," she whispered. "Therapy, counseling, whatever you want." "I want you gone." She gasped like she couldn't believe I said it, like I wasn't allowed to finally say what I felt. "I gave you everything," I said. "I paid for your dream car, your vacations, your startup that failed 3 times. I worked 12-hour shifts so you could find yourself. And when you found yourself, it was on some other guy's lap." Her lower lip trembled. For a second, I saw it. A crack in her mask. Then it hardened again. "You're making a mistake." There it was again. Her way or the highway. "No, Melissa. You made the mistake. I'm finally just fixing it." She stood there for a second longer, like she wanted to say something else. Maybe cry again. Maybe beg. But she didn't. Instead, she walked toward the door, stopped, turned around and said, "He's gone, by the way." I raised a brow. "Who?" "Chad. He ghosted me, blocked me on everything." I shrugged. "Figures. He got what he wanted." "So that's it? After everything we've been through?" "Everything we've been through. You mean me carrying the relationship while you played fantasy life on Instagram?" "Yeah, that's it." She stared at me like she was waiting for something. I gave her nothing. Then she left. I locked the door, sat back on the bed, looked at the mess of chips and beer and old receipts on the table, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. I felt free. But the story wasn't over. Because 3 days later, I got a letter in the mail. Melissa was suing me for spousal support. That envelope burned in my hand. Not literally, but in a way that made my chest tighten like a vice. Melissa, after cheating, humiliating me, and trying to publicly reduce me to a meme, was now suing me for money. Spousal support. It was laughable if it didn't make my blood boil. I ripped the letter open and read every line. She'd hired some high-end attorney in Los Angeles, probably someone her family recommended, to file a formal petition. In it, she claimed she'd become accustomed to a certain lifestyle and required financial support to maintain her stability. Let that sink in. The woman who told me I was boring, slept with Chad in a motel off the highway, and gave me a damn divorced shirt at her birthday now wanted me to fund her recovery. My lawyer, Ben, nearly choked when I sent him the document. "She's either delusional or suicidal," he said over the phone, "but let me bury her either way." We met that same evening. I brought every screenshot, every audio file, the footage from the dash cam, even the receipts from the motel with her signature. Ben's eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. "This isn't a case," he said. "It's a fucking execution." But Melissa didn't back down. No, she doubled down. Her lawyer sent me a list of demands. Half the house, half the joint savings, $3,000 a month in support. And she wanted to keep the car I bought her for our anniversary. That same car I saw Chad driving in one of the videos. She was out of her damn mind. The court date was set for weeks, and every day in between, she found new ways to crawl back into my life. She sent texts, emails, even tried sliding into my DM requests from a burner Instagram account, pretending to be a friend. I blocked everyone. Then she upped the game, showed up at my gym, full makeup, workout leggings, pretending to stretch while staring at me like we were in some rom-com reunion. I ignored her, didn't say a word, just walked past her, turned the corner, and punched the heavy bag like it was her lawyer. The next day, a voicemail. "You looked hot at the gym. Miss you." I deleted it. That night, she left a handwritten note under my hotel room door. It said, "You don't get to just walk away from me, Jason." That line. That fucking line. She wasn't trying to fix anything. She didn't want love or forgiveness. She wanted control. And when she couldn't manipulate me with tears, guilt, or cleavage, she turned to what she knew best. Chaos. I had to change hotels, got a different room under a different name. I stopped going to the gym, started working out in the parking lot at midnight, headphones in, watching shadows. I wasn't scared. I was calculating. Because court was coming, and I wanted to walk in not just prepared, but undeniable. Then came the last straw. One night I got a call from an unknown number. Normally I let it ring, but this time something told me to answer. It was Chad. His voice was shaky, panicked. I could hear traffic in the background. "Jason, man, look, I didn't know she was still with you, all right? She told me you were split, that you cheated on her, said you were abusive." I didn't say anything. "She's fucking crazy, man. She showed up at my apartment yesterday, screaming, banging on my door at 2 a.m., said she was pregnant and it was mine." I blinked. "She said what?" "Yeah, man, pregnant. I made her take a test right there in the bathroom. She wasn't." "Just another game." He paused. "You better watch your back. That girl's not just toxic. She's dangerous." I hung up without a word. Then I called Ben. "We go scorched earth," I said. "No mercy." He sighed like he'd been waiting for that. "About fucking time." The courtroom was quiet, sterile. No chaos, no screaming, no happy birthday banners or branded t-shirts. Just 4 beige walls, a bored judge, and the end of everything. Melissa walked in wearing a black dress like she was at a funeral. My funeral. Hair curled, subtle makeup, no tears yet. Just a smug little smirk like she knew the game and thought she was still playing it better than me. She didn't see the arsenal Ben and I had packed. Her lawyer started with the usual sob story. Melissa had dedicated her best years to the marriage, relied on my income while she pursued creative passions, and now faced emotional distress from an unexpected divorce. She needed support to rebuild her life. Ben stood up calmly, no theatrics, just opened a folder and handed the judge a file. "In that folder, Your Honor, are time-stamped videos, audio recordings, and financial records proving Mrs. Carter engaged in a prolonged extramarital relationship while misrepresenting her marital status, misusing marital funds, and committing what we believe to be strategic emotional manipulation." The judge raised an eyebrow. Melissa shifted in her seat. Ben continued. "We have receipts of motel stays, recorded conversations, including explicit discussions about hiding the affair, and a gift presented at a birthday party meant to humiliate my client publicly." He placed the divorce t-shirt in a plastic evidence bag on the table. Her lawyer stammered. Melissa went pale, and then the judge said it, the sentence that cracked her open.
Given the evidence, this court finds no justification for spousal support. Furthermore, Mr. Carter will retain the property and joint savings. Mrs. Carter's claims of emotional duress appear self-inflicted. Melissa turned to me, eyes wide with something I hadn't seen in her since the day we met. Fear.
Real, helpless fear. I didn't smile. I didn't blink. I just watched. Court ended. Ben clapped me on the shoulder, whispered, "Free man." I nodded and walked out. But she followed me in the parking lot, heels clicking against the pavement like a warning bell. "Jason, wait!" I kept walking. She ran this time, grabbing my arm. "You ruined me." I looked at her. Finally looked. "No," I said. "You ruined you." She shook her head. "I can't believe you did this to me." "You humiliated me in front of friends and family. You let another man climb into the life I built for us, and then you handed me a joke like it was a gift. You sued me after cheating, and I'm the bad guy?" Tears welled in her eyes, but it was too late. Whatever she thought she could say now, it was ash in her mouth. "You destroyed my reputation," she hissed. "Melissa," I said calmly, "you were your reputation. I just showed everyone who you really are." She didn't answer, just stood there shaking, watching me walk to my car. That night, I drove home. Not to a hotel, not to a friend's couch, but home. Alone. Peacefully. For the first time in months, there was no screaming in my ears, no lies hanging in the air, no fake kisses before bed. Just silence. I cracked open a beer, sat on the back porch, looked up at the stars like I hadn't done in years, and I laughed. A real one. Because she was gone, and I didn't lose. I didn't break. I didn't become her. I remembered who I was, and I liked him again. A few weeks went by. Everything felt strange, but not in a bad way. It was the silence, the clean air, the absence of chaos. Like someone finally turned off a fire alarm that had been ringing in the back of my mind for years. I started sleeping through the night, started eating real meals again. I picked up a book for the first time in forever, went to the gym without checking over my shoulder. I was becoming me again, just without the leash. Then one afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. No name, no introduction, just a photo. Melissa on a date, smiling across the table at some balding guy in a suit, her hand on his. The caption, "Your ex moves fast. Better catch up, Jason." It was from a fake number. She was trying to bait me. I didn't reply. I just blocked it and kept moving. But that wasn't the end. 2 days later, I came home from work and found a box on my porch. No label, just my name in messy handwriting. I opened it slowly. Inside was the hoodie she wore the night she showed up at my hotel, folded neatly. On top of it, her wedding ring and a Polaroid photo of us back when things still felt real. On the back of the photo, scribbled in black marker, "We could have had it all." I sat down on the steps. Not because I missed her, I didn't. Not because I wanted her back, I never would. I sat down because I was finally realizing something important. Melissa would never truly go away. Not really. She wasn't just a person I divorced. She was a scar, a brand burned into my memory. I'd see her again, not in real life, hopefully never again, but in other people, in stories, in small, familiar lies. But I wasn't afraid of her anymore. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just lit a match and dropped it into the box. Watched the flames climb through the hoodie, curl the photo, melt the metal of that cheap ring she wore like a trophy. And I smiled as the smoke danced upward, taking everything she was with it. After that, I got quiet. Really quiet. Started focusing on my own life. I took up boxing again, got promoted, traveled, reconnected with people I'd ghosted while I was stuck being her emotional support punching bag. I even went on a couple dates. Slow ones, careful ones. And you know what shocked me the most? How foreign kindness felt. The first time a woman asked me how my day was, I almost choked. I wasn't used to it. I was used to defending myself, apologizing for things I never did, walking on glass so someone else didn't throw a tantrum. It hit me hard how long I'd been surviving, not living. And that's when I realized something. I didn't hate Melissa. I pitied her. Because she would never have what I now did. Peace.
She keeps spinning her drama wheels, using men as escape routes until each one burns out. But me? I was rebuilding from scratch. Stronger, smarter, sharper. And if I ever met another woman like her again, I wouldn't waste another second figuring it out. I'd walk without a word, without hesitation. Because now, I knew what a real red flag looked like. And it looked exactly like Melissa on her birthday, holding that t-shirt with that smug little smile. And if I could leave that moment behind, I could leave anything. Spring turned to summer, and with it came a quiet sort of clarity. I didn't realize how loud my life had been until the noise was gone. There were no more fake apologies, no more cold shoulders in bed, no more checking Melissa's mood the moment I walked through the door like I was defusing a bomb. I had space now, head space, room to breathe. But then something happened that cracked the silence, just a little. I ran into her brother Travis at the grocery store of all places. I hadn't seen him since before the split. He used to be cool before he started taking her side without ever asking me what happened. He looked surprised to see me. I was filling a basket with steaks and whiskey. He had almond milk and kale. No contest. "Jason," he said, like I was a ghost. "Damn, man, you look different." "Different how?" I asked, not breaking stride toward the self-checkout. "Healthier, lighter," he said, falling into step beside me. "Like someone dropped a 100-pound anchor off your back." I scanned a bottle of bourbon and looked him in the eye. "Someone did." He nodded slowly. "Look, I didn't know the half of it. Melissa lied to all of us, man. I didn't find out what really happened until after the court stuff went down. She's unraveling." I didn't answer. Didn't care. "She told my mom you ruined her life," he said. "She ruined her own. She's seeing someone new, some guy who owns a car wash and wears a gold chain over a tank top. That tracks. She also got kicked out of her apartment and, she said something about missing the old days with you." I laughed through my nose. "I bet she does," I said. "Those days came with health insurance and first-class tickets." We stood in silence for a second while the scanner beeped through the last items. Travis cleared his throat. "She's not going to make it easy, you know," he said. "Melissa doesn't move on. She circles back." I grabbed my receipt. "She can circle all she wants. I'm not standing still." I walked out without looking back. A week later, I got a friend request from her. Not Melissa, her sister Claire. The one who always used to pull me aside at family dinners and whisper, "You could do so much better." I accepted. A day after that, I got a message. "Claire, I'm not going to lie. You dodged a bullet." I responded after a few hours. "Me? Took one first." We started talking. Slowly, casually. She was different. Real. Asked questions without prying. Cracked jokes that didn't feel like tests, and didn't bring up Melissa once, until one night. "I always wondered," Claire typed, "how you lasted as long as you did. I couldn't have done it. I didn't realize I was drowning until I got out of the water," I wrote back. She responded with one sentence that stuck in my chest. "Now you know how to swim." And I did. Weeks passed. Claire and I started hanging out. No labels, no pressure. Just peace. One night she asked me, "Do you think you'll ever forgive her?" I thought about that. About the lies, the betrayal, the public humiliation, the lawsuit, the games. "No," I said, looking her in the eyes. "But I forgive myself for letting it go on for as long as I did." She smiled. "That's the only one that matters." And she was right. I didn't need Melissa to be sorry. I didn't need closure. I didn't need revenge anymore. I just needed to never forget what I learned and to never ever ignore my instincts again. Because sometimes love isn't blind. It's just looking the other way. It was a Tuesday, the kind of day that used to blur into the rest. Emails, coffee, traffic, empty conversations. But not anymore. That day I woke up early, went for a run,
made breakfast for no one but myself, and sat by the window watching the sun climb the sky like I hadn't done in years.
Melissa wasn't on my mind. Not really. Not anymore. But what was on my mind was me. Who I was. Who I became. I didn't come out of that marriage a victim. I came out a survivor. A man who stared betrayal in the face and didn't flinch. A man who learned that sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. The truth is, she didn't break me. She shattered the illusion. And what was left underneath was real.
I looked at the man in the mirror now and didn't see confusion or self-doubt or 1,000 unanswered questions. I saw clarity and peace. Melissa went on doing whatever Melissa did, drifting from man to man, playing house, selling stories of how her evil ex ruined her life. That was her prison, her cycle, her trap. Not mine.
And me? I stopped chasing closure and started building something better. A life on my own terms, with people who told the truth, with space for someone real when the time was right. So what would I say to someone standing where I stood? To the man just discovering the messages, hearing the lies, feeling that punch in the gut that knocks the wind out of your soul? I'd say this: don't beg, don't break. Don't waste your energy trying to fix someone who enjoys being broken. Leave with your head high, even if your heart's in pieces. You'll heal. It'll hurt like hell. You'll question everything. You'll lose nights. But one morning, you'll wake up and the weight will be gone. And in its place, freedom. And you'll never trade that for anyone again.